Meet Amara. Amara was 26 years old, but she felt 60. Not in her body, in her spirit. She worked 2 jobs. One at a small clinic reception desk, where people looked through her like she was furniture. The other at a 24-hour diner, wiping tables at 2 a.m. while drunk customers called her sweetheart like they had the right. She lived in a cramped studio apartment with a leaking faucet and a landlord who raised the rent every year just because. Her mother had passed away 6 months ago. Lung cancer. Fussed. Cruel. The kind that doesn't give you time to say goodbye properly. Amara hadn't cried in weeks. Not because she was strong, because she was empty. One rainy Tuesday night, she couldn't sleep. The faucet was dripping. The neighbor upstairs was arguing with someone. Again, she opened the cardboard box in her closet, the one she'd been avoiding. Her mother's things. Old photos. Costume jewelry. A faded green sweater that still smelled like rose soap. And at the bottom of the box, a notebook. It was small, leather-bound. The cover was blank. Amara opened it. On the first page, in her mother's neat, elegant handwriting, "Write your life as if it has already happened." Amara laughed. "Assad, Kwawatleth." "Thanks, Mom," she whispered. A little late for fairy tales. But she didn't close the notebook. That night, lying in bed with the rain tapping the window, Amara picked up a pen. She wrote, "I am living in a beautiful apartment with big windows and sunlight." It felt ridiculous. She wrote again, "I have money in my account. Not rich, just safe, peaceful." She paused, then added, "I'm not invisible anymore." She closed the notebook, put on her nightstand, fell asleep. Day 3. Nothing happened. She almost threw the notebook away, but something stopped her. Maybe it was the memory of her mother's hands. Those gentle hands that had held her when she was small, that had never lied to her. So she kept writing. Day 7. Still nothing. But she noticed something strange. When she wrote, "I wake up feeling rested." The next morning, she actually did. Not perfectly, but a little better. Day 10. She wrote, "Someone smiles at me like I matter." That afternoon, a little girl at the diner waved at her. Just a random kid with chocolate on her face. But the girl smiled like Amara was the most interesting person in the room. Amara felt a tiny crack in her chest. Not a break. A crack where light could maybe get in. She started writing every night. Not obsessively, just 5 minutes before sleep. "I laugh at something real today. I feel strong enough to call a friend. I remember Mom's voice and it doesn't hurt." And slowly, so slowly she almost missed it, things started to shift. On day 14, her phone rang, 8:47 a.m., a number she didn't recognize. "Hello, Amara? This is Dr. Chun from Westside Radiology. We met at that health fair 6 months ago. You gave me your card." She remembered. A cold table. A boring conversation. She'd almost thrown the card away. "I have a private practice opening," Dr. Chun said. "Front desk coordinator. Full benefits. Mondays off. The pay is, well, let's just say it's more than the clinic." Amara almost dropped the phone. She started 2 weeks later. The office was beautiful. Large windows, morning sunlight, her own desk, her name on a little gold plaque, big windows and sunlight, just like she wrote. On day 30, she got her first paycheck. She was sitting on her old couch, still in the cramped studio, still with the leaking faucet. She opened her banking app and froze. It wasn't a huge number, not life-changing money, but it wasn't random either. It was exactly $4,732. She grabbed the notebook, flipped through the pages, found the entry from day 12. She had written, "I look at my bank account and feel safe." The number doesn't have to be big, just $4,732. Inu. She stopped writing mid-sentence that night, got tired, left the pen on the page. But the number, that number, she hadn't even remembered writing it. Amara put the notebook down. Her hands were shaking. For a moment, she felt pure joy. A laugh bubbled up from somewhere deep. Then she turned the page. The next page was blank when she last saw it. It wasn't blank anymore. Someone, or something, had written one sentence, in handwriting that looked almost like hers. Almost, but sharper, colder. "Be careful what you believe, it's listening." Amara stared at the page for a long time. Her first thought was practical. Maybe she wrote it in her sleep? Sleep writing wasn't a thing, but maybe. But her mother's notebook had been in the box for months. Alone, untouched, and that handwriting, it was too neat, too deliberate. She closed the notebook, opened it again. The sentence was still there. That night, she didn't write anything. She put the notebook in a kitchen drawer and tried to sleep. But she kept thinking about the word listening. Listening to what? Her hopes? Her fears? Her late-night whispers? The next morning, she tested it. She wrote on a sticky note, "I see a yellow butterfly today." Then she went to work. No yellow butterfly. Not on the bus. Not on the walk to the office. Not in the park across the street. She laughed. See? Coincidence. The paycheck was a coincidence. The apartment. Well, she didn't have the apartment yet, so nothing was real. She threw the sticky note in the trash. At 4:47 p.m., a new patient walked into the office. A little girl, maybe 7 years old. She was holding a crumpled coloring book. On the cover, someone had drawn a large yellow butterfly. Not real, not flying, drawn by a child. But Amara felt her stomach drop, because the universe wasn't giving her exactly what she asked for. It was giving her exactly what she believed she would get. And she hadn't believed in the butterfly, so she got a drawing instead. That's when she understood. The notebook wasn't magic. Not exactly. It was a mirror. Amara sat on her floor that night, the notebook open in front of her. She remembered her mother, a woman who never had much, who worked double shifts and came home with tired eyes and chapped hands, but who also hummed, who grew tomatoes on a tiny balcony, who told Amara every single night, "You're going to do beautiful things." Her mother never wrote in that notebook for herself. She was writing it for Amara. Write your life as if it has already happened. It wasn't a spell. It was a lesson, a practice. Her mother had been trying to teach her that belief isn't wishful thinking. Belief is a muscle. And Amara's muscle had atrophied years ago when she started believing she was invisible, that she was tired, that nothing would ever change. The notebook wasn't creating her life. It was revealing what she already believed. And somewhere along the way, Amara had started believing in fear again. That's why the warning appeared. Not from ghost, not from curse, from her own deep, frightened self. The part that whispered, "This is too good to be true. You don't deserve this. Stop hoping." That part had been listening, and it had written its own sentence. Amara picked up her pen. She turned to a fresh page, and she wrote, "I'm not afraid of being happy. I'm allowed to receive good things." The notebook is just paper. The magic is already inside me. She wrote until her hand hurt. Not fantasies, not demands, affirmations, choices. Then she closed the notebook and put it under her pillow. That was 6 months ago. Today, Amara lives in a small but beautiful apartment. Big windows, morning light. The faucet doesn't leak. She still has the notebook. She still writes in it sometimes. But not every night. She doesn't need it anymore. The real change wasn't the money, or the job, or the apartment. The real change was this. One morning, she woke up and realized she hadn't thought of herself as invisible in weeks. She smiles at strangers now. They smile back, not because of magic, because she looks at them like they matter. And people can feel that. She still misses her mother. Some days, it hits her like a wave. But now she lets it wash over her instead of drowning. And that sentence, "Be careful what you believe," it's listening. She didn't erase it. She keeps it there, on purpose, because it's not a threat. It's a reminder. Every thought you feed grows. Every story you tell yourself becomes your address. The universe isn't some cosmic vending machine, but neither is it silent. It's listening, not to your words, to your belief. So write carefully, not because someone is watching, because someone is becoming. Amara still has the green sweater that smells like rose soap. She wears it on cold mornings. And sometimes when she passes a blank notebook in a store, she smiles. She knows now, you don't need a special book. You just need to believe that your life is worth writing. And then start writing it, like it has already happened,